started. Our first item on the agenda is Senate nomination number 19, Dr. William Alonzo Billy Moorhead from Madison, Mississippi, for the Public Procurement Review Board, a 4-year term, effective immediately and ending June 30th, 2024. Mr. Moorhead, if you would please come up to the podium up here. I believe everybody has a packet in front of you with his peer report.
Good morning.
If you would please tell the committee a little bit about yourself and your position with this board.
Sure. Take that off to hear me a little better. Grew up in Greenville, Mississippi. Lived in the Jackson area. Moved down after graduating Delta State. Moved to Jackson in '84. I lived here for 16 years. My wife and I then moved back to Cleveland, Mississippi, to work at Delta State University. I have a 27-year career with the state, retired in 2011 from Delta State, having served in various roles across the state as auditor, working with Department of Mental Health, as their CFO at State Hospital for 9 years, South Mississippi State Hospital for a year. Delta State, I was their VP of Finance Administration for 6 years, and as a faculty member along the way as well. In the last decade, I've been at Mississippi College, moved back to the Jackson area, and I'm concluding a 10th year as a professor of accountancy at MC.
Okay. So you're a professor at MC, and peer reviewed your application, and it says that this will be your second term?
Yes, sir. I served on the inaugural PPRB that began legislation passed in 17. It was effective January 1 of 18. Governor Bryant appointed me there as a partial term, I guess, if you will. We started with staggered terms. So I finished 2.5 years on the board officially June 30 of 20. Yes, sir. I served on the inaugural, those are from and after whatever PPRB, whatever the right term is. It was filled. I stayed in the position until it was filled, and I've been reappointed by Governor Reeves for this. So yes, sir.
Okay. Peer noted that your appointment does comply with applicable state law, and there was no derogatory information in your background search. Are there any questions from the committee? Not. There are no other questions. Do we have a motion on the appointment, on the nomination? All right. You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all very much. It's an honor to serve and continue to serve the state. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know you've got to get back. You have to
motion from Greenville.
The next item is item Senate Bill number 2435, Alcoholic Beverages Revised Various Provisions Relating to Distilleries. Senator Boyd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have before you today a bill that many of you will remember last year. Senator McMahon did a tremendous amount of work and brought before the legislature a bill that helped a meadery in his area to where that meadery was able to serve alcoholic beverages of the mead wine that were made there at the distillery as people were taking tours and looking at that. I also have a distillery in my area. It is a gin distillery. It's the only gin distillery in the state, and it is truly a grain to glass distillery with all the products coming from within Mississippi. It's one of the only rice gin distilleries in the country, the U.S., and it actually uses our Mississippi jasmine rice that's produced here in the Mississippi Delta. And it's a great operation. If y'all come to Oxford, I'd love to take you out and show you. I also put you an article about the founders. It's a really neat thing that's going on in Taylor, Mississippi. And the gin is very successful. It's won some national awards. And so we're very excited about this. But we would like to be able for them to actually, gin is not something that you typically sip. It's usually in a cocktail. And we would like to be able, as you tour that distillery, to be able to have a cocktail there and taste it. We think this also will pair nicely with tourism from the meadery that is over in Tupelo, since we're only about an hour apart from each other. We think there's some tourism opportunities there. So we took the basis of that bill that we did last year, and we've added some changes to make sure that this distillery is incorporated. And I'll briefly just say it's on line 369. We allow the on-premise consumption at the distillery. Lines 374 through 80. 380, we allow on-premise we clarify that on-premise consumption has to be consistent with city or county regulations. We also put a caveat there that the alcohol can't contain any more than 20% of the beverage being sold. We also, on line 562, 566, we just added distilled spirits where we had the winery there. And lines 666 through 668, we add distilled spirits to the section where the native wines are already being allowed for on-site pickup. On lines 685 and 686, what we did with this is we talked with DOR, and what we have done is for these small batch distilleries, we have reduced the permitting fee from $4,500 to $2,800, trying to encourage more distilleries because we have such a wealth of agricultural products here in the state. And this is a good business that hopefully we can get some more people interested in. And so we've lowered the fee on that. And anyway, so that's the major changes of the bill, and I'll entertain any questions.
Are there any questions from the committee? No questions?
Title statement do pass?
Hold on a second. Senator McMahon, do you have a question?
I do, Mr. Chairman. May I ask a question to Senator Boyd?
Sure.
Senator Boyd, how many of small distilleries do we have in the state?
During COVID, we've had some of those closed down. So my understanding right now is that we only have 2 at this moment. So hopefully this bill will encourage more to develop.
I'm going to withdraw any questions.
Thank you. Senator? Hit that green button on hit your mic on. There you go.
Okay, that sounds better. I heard you say something about the amount allowed to be sold at the distillery. But you give me that amount again. I think you said 20%. I want to be sure.
Yes, sir. If you'll go to lines 374 through 380, any other beverage component containing alcohol cannot exceed 20% of the beverage being sold. And that's just verifying that we're going to make sure that this distillery, their primary product is not a Jack Daniel's whiskey, that they're actually selling, what we're going to do is make sure that they're actually selling Wonderbird gin here. So this kind of clarifies that this is in the purpose of tourism to promote this gin products that we're doing here.
Okay. Was any policing on that in terms of violations?
I think this is just I think there actually will be. And the distilleries here have a vested interest in promoting their product. I think this will be actually not a problem at all because the distilleries want to promote their product. It's a good gin. If you get to Oxford, we need to get you out there. So,
Okay.
But it is, and this is the rice that they're using particularly right now is for just of interest to everyone is from Sumner, Mississippi.
All right. Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator. Any further questions?
I have a motion, title sufficient, do pass.
All right, motion is title sufficient, do pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Next item on the agenda is Senate Bill 2477. This is Mississippi Home Corporation removing the reverter on the statute granting authority to issue negotiable bonds and notes. In Mississippi Home Corporation, basically it's deleting the reverter after line 88. Pretty simple explanation of what the bill does. Are there any questions? Any questions? Seeing none? Motion is title sufficient to pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Next bill is Senate Bill 2728. This is for the Department of Revenue, the law enforcement officers there to, upon retirement, keep one of their sidearms that are issued. I think this is standard amongst law enforcement across the state agencies. They get to keep their service weapon that they're issued. That's what the bill does. Are there any questions? Seeing none, motion is title sufficient to pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question on that.
Yes, sir.
Isn't the practice that they already allowed to purchase their sidearm when they retire?
It's my understanding that they're already issued, they get to keep their sidearm that they are issued in service. They don't have to purchase it. They're allowed to take it with
They're
them.
allowed to take it without purchasing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I know it's customary that we've been doing it for some time. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Next bill is Senate Bill 2804. This is the delivery of wine, beer, wine, and spirits. This legislation provides for an in-state delivery license to allow retailers, their employees, or independent contractors to deliver beer, wine, or spirits directly to Mississippi residents who are 21 years of age or older for their personal use. This legislation does not allow direct shipment of alcohol from an out-of-state manufacturer or wholesaler to in-state residents. It only allows delivery from a Mississippi retail business to an individual legal recipient within the state, similar to a, I guess, Uber Eats or something that delivers food from a restaurant to your house. This is the same type service, but for beer, wine, and spirits. It requires the delivery service to apply for a delivery license issued by ABC. It preserves a three-tier system. It's three-tier compliant. The delivery only to individuals who are 21 years of age or older. It requires delivery personnel to be 21 years of age or older. Requires a valid photo ID as proof of age pursuant to ABC rules and regulations. It also requires scanning software to scan, verify, and collect the recipient's name and date of birth at the time of delivery to verify age. It requires training and certification program for delivery personnel approved by ABC that addresses the topics like identifying underage individuals, intoxicated persons, or fake or altered identification. It also requires delivery personnel to return alcohol if accepted delivery conditions are not met. It prohibits the delivery of alcohol across state lines, and it requires general liability insurance coverage. And independent contractors are covered by the insurance policy, and delivery companies have full control over the alcohol from point of sale to point of delivery. So it's kind of a, and this is a, working off a committee substitute. There was some language that had to be changed, I guess, from the original version that was filed, but this is a committee sub that we're working off of. So it's similar to a delivery service that people may get for groceries or food. This just allows them to deliver these items as well. So, Senator Blunt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know we have a patchwork of alcohol laws in different cities, counties. If I have a package store in a municipality, can my delivery service deliver my product to someone who lives outside of my municipality? Let's say my city's wet, my county's dry.
We ended prohibition for the purposes of possession last year,
But I'm not talking about possession, I'm talking about you're really purchasing. If I live in the dry county and I call my package store in the wet municipality, can they do that?
council's saying no, they cannot deliver to a dry county.
Okay, because I guess the point of sale is really where I'm at my home on the phone, or when I call the package store and I say, bring me a bottle, and they bring it to my house.
On line 81, I
Okay.
believe is where it addresses this, that may not deliver any alcoholic beverage, beer, light wine, or light spirits product to any person located within the jurisdiction that is dry for that product, as provided by the division's wet
Okay,
dry maps.
okay, great.
So, but if you live in an area that's wet and you have to drive across
Right.
a drive, we passed a law that would allow them to do that, but they can't deliver it in a dry area.
What about after hours? It's, the package store closes at 9 o'clock, and can I place an order or receive an order after 9 o'clock on a Saturday night? So
Standing no, point of sale, the hour's closed, you can't buy anymore.
is the point of sale when I push a button on my app, or when they come to my house?
I believe the point of sale is when they pick up the product at the store.
The,
Store is closed, you can order something, and if they get to the store to purchase the product and it's closed, they can't fill the order.
but if I'm at home, it's 8:58.
They can't get to the store before it closes, there's no way they can secure the order. They can't purchase the product.
But I don't know where these delivery people, I assume, are sitting in the car in the parking lot waiting to go, And I'm at my house, and they can. I don't necessarily object to what we're trying to do, but I just don't want to. I don't want to get. I want to be in compliance with whatever the laws are in the where the person is, and determining where the point of sale is, whether it's at the store or whether it's at the person who's at their house.
I believe that the point of sale is actually when they purchase the product at the retail location. So if the retail location is closed, then they can't purchase the product. I mean, if you call at 9:59 and they close at 10 o'clock, or if you call at 8:59 and they close at 9 o'clock, there's no way they can go purchase the product to deliver to you.
Well, I mean, can I go to the package store's website, enter my credit card number, and hit buy? I'm at my house. I never leave my house.
Going off of the delivery service it's my understanding that you're going through the delivery service, not the package store. You're not buying at a package store and then having to call somebody. It's my understanding that you're engaging these delivery services to go buy the product and deliver it.
So if the app is, We Deliver Wine app or whatever it is, and I have it on my phone, and I put my credit card number in, and I make my purchase I'm purchasing from the delivery service. And then the delivery service, it puts a fee on it, and they go to the liquor store. They have to go to the liquor store. They can't stock anything.
Right.
Just like Uber Eats isn't making your food. So
Yeah, I'm gonna get Matthew to come up here and answer some of these questions that may have a little bit more.
okay, who's,
Matthew? Yes.
Thank you, Senator. And to answer your question, the
but
point of-
before, I appreciate you coming up, but can you just tell us all who you are?
Yeah, my name is Matthew Major. I'm with Adams and Reese LLP. I represent Shipt, which is one of the companies pushing this legislation. They wanted to be here today. They couldn't due to some circumstances related to COVID, and I'm happy to answer the questions to the best of my ability here. But to answer your question, point of sale would occur when you make the credit card transaction on your phone, correct? But you cannot have delivery after hours of service. There's also language in the bill that says, you have to abide by what the local jurisdictions and laws would be. So you would not be able to, like you said, get on, even like from our app's perspective, you wouldn't even be able to see, it would say, service not available during this time. So you wouldn't be able to do, the retailer handles all of the, processing of the payments and the transaction. Is that related? We're just doing the delivery service. So to answer your question, no, you would not be able to have anything delivered after hours, and it would just say service not available when that, popped up on your cell phone or computer or whatever you were using.
And I assume these folks are independent contractors like Uber drivers or waiter delivery people?
Correct.
So if I'm, from the perspective of the independent contractor, I enter into a relationship with, what's it called, Shipped?
Shipped.
How do I then go to the package store? Because unlike a restaurant,
Sure.
say, you have a, if you're at home, you want a specific kind of pizza
Correct.
or a sandwich.
Yeah.
And if you're buying a bottle of Jack Daniels or a bottle of wine,
Right.
it's the same whatever package store you're at. You're buying the same product regardless of what package store. So from the perspective of the independent contractor, what do they do? Do they then have to drive to the package store?
Correct. So when the consumer
Walk me
makes,
through that, please.
when the consumer makes the selection on their device, whether that be a computer or laptop, and they select the package store they want to purchase the product for, or retailer or grocery store, whatever that might be, then, you know, the independent contractor is sitting there with their, you know, phone, with the application pulled up from a shopper's perspective, which would be like an Uber driver, an independent contractor, and then they would go to that location, pick up the product and deliver it to the consumer. So it's based on the consumer's choice there, but for example, if that contractor is sitting there and it's past 9 p.m. like you described, they would not even be receiving any pings to pick up orders if it was past that, you know, time of sale. So that wouldn't be an issue. You know, on a technological side, you wouldn't even be able to see that from their end, but that's how it would work. They would go and pick it up from whatever retailer or that the consumer selected at that time. So it's really up to whatever the consumer selects, and obviously it's all local based, so you're not going to be selecting, you know, a retailer that's 30, 45 minutes away. It's going to be wherever the quickest and most convenient is, based on your geolocation through the application at the time.
And then the person pays whatever the retail price is in the package store as if he or she had been there in person, and then the app has a surcharge of some amount.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
For the delivery, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Senator Parker.
I'll just share a comment because evidently my family is an expert on Shipt. My experience is that the shopping is done real time. And
It is.
generally, we will get a text saying that the shopping is about to begin.
It is.
Which lets us know the shopping is
Correct.
occurring during those
You get
retail
notifications
hours.
in real time once you know, place the order. It says, you know, your order's getting ready, your shopper is in the store, and then, for
then
example,
if-
on the grocery side, your shopper will text you and say, hey, they're out of Oscar Mayer bacon, but they have this, and they'll send you a picture and say, would you rather have this? And the same would apply
Right, and you
on
can
the
then,
alcohol
you
side.
can decline that, or you
You
can
can-
accept
exactly.
what an alternative
Accept or
is. So it will
decline.
work exactly like we're familiar with.
Correct,
you know,
just
with
exactly the way
Shipt
you're
in general.
familiar with.
Okay, thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you, Senator. Any other questions? Senator Simmons.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question. I'm not familiar with the app.
Sure.
But is the delivery limited to a home or a physical location? Or if I have the app and I was actually in transit, could I actually stop somewhere on a public street and say, I'm here, will you please deliver it here as I am en route home?
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay. Because if you would have answered it differently, I had a whole lot of more
Sure, yeah.
questions after
And
that.
that opens up a whole different can of
okay.
worms there, so no.
Okay,
But
all right.
like, for example, it could be a business, you know, but it has to be, you know, not while you're on the move going somewhere and just pull over and say, meet me on the Pickens exit at I-55, you know, a little bit, you know, different that way.
And because we're dealing with alcohol, is it a limit that will be placed?
A limit on what you can purchase
Yes.
or have delivered through the app? No, there's not a limit. I mean, based on, I guess, what you could purchase at a store, there might be a limit, but there's no limit in this piece of legislation as to what you can have delivered.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Senator Whaley.
Is there anywhere in the bill that spells out that this is only for personal consumption and not for resale?
No,
Not?
there is nothing in the bill, but we wouldn't be opposed to including that
Well,
language.
I'd have an amendment at the proper time.
Okay. Senator, you are recognized.
Thank you. I'd like to propose an amendment that, that'd be used for personal consumption only and not be offered for sale by anyone receiving the delivery.
Okay. That's the motion. Senator Sparks, you got a question?
On the amendment,
Okay.
the purchase of the product is your possession, whether you drink it or whether you gift it or do anything else. You're paying retail plus tax for the purchase. I think we would have a hard time telling a buyer what they could do with the product once they bought it at retail plus tax, would be my concern with the amendment.
Would there be an issue?
Well, my amendment is not based on gifting, it's based on resale. It'd be to prohibit someone from setting up a so-called illegal alcohol business.
But they could do
Bootlegger, so
that
to speak.
they could do that already by just going into the liquor store themselves and buying it and putting it in the back of their pickup. That would be my only concern, is that I have a hard time telling somebody who bought something at retail, it's like telling me I can't resell a pair of socks I buy, or some other product.
I think I would also say that, obviously you have to be permitted to sell alcohol. So there would be if anybody's going to pay retail plus tax and then try to resell it again, I don't even know if that's, something that somebody would do, but I imagine DOR, you'd have to have a permit. Could y'all think of a situation where somebody would buy it, have it delivered to them, and then resell it again? Jan, or? Go ahead, Jeremy. And then if you don't have a permit to sell, you couldn't resell it at your home or your business that's in the landscaping business. So it'd be. Okay. So this takes. All right. So any other questions, Senator Sparks?
No, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Okay. So do we? Okay. Does that satisfy your question on the amendment? You withdraw your amendment, or?
After seeing lines 563 through 567, I will withdraw the amendment.
Okay. All right. So are there any other questions on the bill? Seeing none, is there a motion? All right, motion is title sufficient do pass committee sub. All those in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. All right, next bill is Senate Bill 2805, and we're going to get our friends from DOR to come up and talk about this. This is a bill that gives some flexibility to DOR, specifically ABC, when a permittee is in violation. Right now, I believe the law says they shall have their license revoked, which is pretty definite and harsh depending on what the circumstances are. I think this gives them a little flexibility, but go ahead and address the issue here at hand.
Okay, that's correct. The current statute says that the commissioner shall revoke, and we're just asking to change that to may, and it does give us another tool in our enforcement for sale or illegal sale. It just gives us a little bit of opportunity there to not go straight to a revocation of a permit.
In a revocation of a permit, currently, right now, what is the process if somebody has their permit revoked?
They cannot have another permit for a full year, and then they have to reapply.
If they have an employee that makes a bad decision, they could potentially shut down their business for a year?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. You heard the explanation of the bill. Are there any questions? Senator McMahon?
Yes, does this include retail convenience stores?
Any permitted convenience stores aren't selling alcohol. So I think this only applies to the alcohol.
Well, they are selling alcohol. We passed last year the 5% for spirits, so they are selling alcohol.
This would apply to permitted stores from the ABC. A convenience store is not permitted by ABC.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Any other questions?
Title sufficient due pass.
Motion is title sufficient due pass. All those in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Next bill is Senate Bill 2812. Go ahead.
Okay. This bill just asks that the Department of Revenue be allowed to only maintain title records for 15 years. Currently, the statute says that we maintain title records for every title ever issued in the state of Mississippi. We've been titling vehicles since 1969, and we have every title documentation currently stored. From 1969 through 2005 is on microfiche, and 2005 forward is actually in another electronic document. We're asking to only be required to maintain it for 15 years. Our neighboring states are 7 and 10 years. We did a survey of all states, and most states are 10 to 15-year time period. So we've asked for 15 years.
Okay. Any questions from the committee? Final man. Okay. All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
Title sufficient due pass.
Motion is title sufficient due pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Next bill, Senate Bill 2813. Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also ask DOR to explain that if they'd like to.
This is for amusement ride decals. Last year, the Department of Revenue was charged with issuing decals for amusement rides. And the statute actually said that the decals were good for a period of 12 months from the date of issuance. And we would actually like to have that to be good for a calendar year instead of 12 months from date of issuance. So for any that are issued this year, it would be for the whole year of 2021.
Okay. Any other questions on the bill? Senator Johnson?
Title sufficient due pass.
Motion is title sufficient due pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. We're going to skip item Senate Bill 2831 and go to Senate Bill 2832. This is the upholstered household furniture manufacturing job tax credit. This is a $2,000 tax credit annually for each full-time employee employed in a new cut and sew job for a period of 5 years from the date of credit commencement, and it extends the repealer from out to 2026. So it's a 4-year extension on the repealer. Are there any questions? Senator Blunt.
How's this program working?
As far as I know, pretty good. I talked to one executive of a furniture company in Tupelo, and he was appreciative that we're extending the credit. They're hiring lots of people at his business.
But, I mean, do we have any information on the number of jobs we believed it's retained, and how much it's cost the state?
No, but we'll get that before we bring it up on the floor for you. So, any other questions or a motion? Motion is title sufficient due pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. last bill is Senate Bill 2850. Senator Parks has not made it in. Jane, you think you can handle this one?
2850 just basically states that for any vehicle that is 30 years or older, that the owner can actually just sign a document for a title to be issued. Currently, for a title to be issued, you have to have 2 proofs of ownership, which is going to be a bill of sale or 2 registration fees, and this just waives that for vehicles that are 30 years or older.
Is this mainly something is this like a certain segment of the population that this is affecting more, like classic cars, or is it?
It's going to be those that have classic cars, or they're rebuilding cars, your show cars. These are generally not going to be your cars on the road.
Okay. Is there any issue with doing it this way? Is there any problems that y'all foresee from the Department of Revenue side on giving titles out to cars?
No, the department is fine with this.
No fraud concerns or anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Are there any questions from the committee? Seeing none, for a motion? Motion is title sufficient, do pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you for your diligence, and we'll see you again Thursday. Promotion, rise and report. All those in favor signify by saying aye.